ABAP, and the first topic from Advanced ABAP course that we are going to explore is Object-Oriented ABAP. So before understanding and starting to develop ABAP using object-oriented approach, we need to understand what are the basic principles of object-oriented programming. So object-oriented programming is a paradigm. Okay, it's a programming approach which applies to multiple languages in the industry. Okay, the examples are C++, Java. Okay, this object approach also is used in JavaScript as well. So everything in JavaScript is an object. Okay, those who are familiar with SAP UI5 development might be knowing this concept that JavaScript is used to manipulate the UI properties. Okay, object oriented is the approach that is followed in SAP UI5 as well, in other languages also. Okay, like Java. So the basic principles of object-oriented programming are these: encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. Okay, we are not going to dwell much into the theory of these. What we are going to do is we are going to try to understand these concepts via programming approach. Okay, so just single line, one-liners I have mentioned here, just to get ourselves initiated. Okay, so what is encapsulation? So what the statement says is object and operations on the object are coupled together in a single entity called class. So this is a textual line. We will understand this in more detail using a proper example. So what the statement says is whatever data you're trying to manipulate and whatever the operations that are allowed on the data that you are trying to manipulate are bundled together in a single entity, which is called as a class. So class is the underlying root of object-oriented programming. Wherever the object-oriented programming is there, definitely you will encounter the term class. So class is an entity or a set which contains the data as well as operations that are to be performed on the data. The operations that are to be performed on the data are what you can say defined using methods of the class. Methods are what you can say if you have done C programming or C++ programming in your engineering courses or even in your undergraduate courses, methods are somewhat similar to functions only. Okay, in C or C++. So only the difference between a function and a method is that the method belongs to a particular class, whereas the function is a global thing in C programming and C++. Not C++ programming. Yeah, C++ programming, C programming, both functions are global, whereas methods are belonging to a particular class. Okay. The second point is abstraction. Abstraction is somewhat what you can say is revealing only the necessary details of the object. That is, not all attributes of the object are visible outside the class. Only the relevant part or bare minimum things that need to be revealed are only revealed. So this type of behavior or programming approach comes under abstraction. Okay, so this is achieved using the visibility concept, public, private, and protected visibilities of the class. Okay, so whatever data is in the private section is not at all visible outside the class. Whatever data is present in the public section is visible inside the class as well as outside the class. Whatever is protected is visible only inside the class, and it is visible to the child of that particular class or children of that particular class. The children part comes in the next point, which is inheritance. Okay, so we are not going to go through these four topics like in one go. We will try to understand what is encapsulation. We'll try to understand what is abstraction, then inheritance, and based on the inheritance part, we are going to explore polymorphism. So polymorphism is not possible. The fourth point that is mentioned here, polymorphism, is not at all possible unless you have an inheritance relationship between the classes. Okay, so uh, so what is inheritance is basically establishing a parent-child relation between classes so that one class can reuse the properties of other class. Okay, so there are let us say n number of properties of a parent class. So all you need to incorporate in another class, so you can declare the new class which uses the properties of the existing class. So all the n properties, depending on the visibility, uh, will be uh, uh, will be utilized by the child class. So we'll explore this in more detail in the programming approach. Okay. Polymorphism also, there's no point in discussing what polymorphism is in a theoretical sense. It's a practical thing that we need to explore it. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll try to understand these concepts via programming. Okay. So what we have in OOPS ABAP are two types of classes that we have. One is the global class and one is the local class. So global classes are, as you might be knowing, these are created and maintained using the transaction SE24. Okay, the transaction is SE24. And using the transaction SE24, local classes are created and maintained within the uh, programs. Okay, so global classes are repository objects and local classes are not repository objects. These are locally maintained. It's like a subroutine. Okay, it's the difference between a local class and global class is that what you can say include program is a repository object. You can compare global classes and local classes with include program and subroutine. Okay, a include program is a repository object, but a subroutine resides within the include program. Okay, so the subroutine itself is not a repository object. The include program is a repository object. Likewise, a report program is a repository object. A class can be created inside a report program. So the report program is a repository object, but the local class which is created within the report program is not a repository object. Okay. Hope this clarifies what is a global class and local class. The scope of the local class is valid or it is valid only during the runtime of the parent repository object. That is, if you create a local class within a report program, the local class is valid and can be used only during the execution of the report program. Else, the local class is not recognized by the SAP repository. Okay, the global class is always there. It is there in the SE24. It's like another analogy is an internal table and a database table. The database table is always there, but the internal table will exist only during the runtime. Okay, that's what the difference between global class and local classes. So we'll start with local classes. Global classes are very simple. Local classes, once you understand all the concepts of object-oriented ABAP, you can easily extend them to global classes. It's not like I'm going to drop out global classes, but it's good, what you can say, training practice or teaching practice to teach all the object-oriented programming concepts via the local classes. So once you have a thorough understanding of local classes, easily that can be expanded to global classes. We'll just log on to the SAP system. If anybody is not able to see the screen or if anybody is not able to hear the voice clearly, you can just unmute yourself and let me know. So we'll go to the transaction SE38. We'll create a report program via which we'll try to explore encapsulation abstraction. Okay. I'm going to create an executable program. Okay, just save it as a local object. The syntax to create a class is class. There are two parts of local class creation. One is the definition part and another one is the implementation part. Okay. So class, let us say LCL demo. Okay, LCL is the naming convention that we are using. L for local and CL for class. Likewise, if it's a global class, we are going to use ZCL. Okay, so this is a local class, hence I am naming it as LCL demo. The first part is the definition part. Okay, the class. Okay. So if you have a definition part, you should have an implementation part as well. Okay, I'm going to replicate here. Okay. A class always has a definition part and an implementation part. Okay. So there are three visibility sections via which we achieve abstraction. As we know, abstraction is like revealing only the necessary parts of a particular class. So that is achieved via the visibility of the members of the class. Okay. So first of all, there is a public section. Okay. There is a protected section. And there is a private section. Okay, the sequence of the public section, protected section, and private section must be in this manner only. Okay, you cannot have them in any random order. If you do so, there is a syntax error while compiling. Okay, so what happens if I just copy this private section and paste it before uh, the protected section is, I am going to get a syntax error. Okay, sections are in the wrong order. So while creating local classes, please you need to take care of this fact that the public, private, and protected section should be in the defined order only. Okay, the correct order is that I am using right now. Okay, the public, protected, and then the private section. Okay, it's then a very important point. So those parts of the class that you want to expose to the outside world, that is outside world in the sense outside the class, are declared in the public section. Okay, so let us say I want to create class for person. Okay, so a person will have his name. Its first name. We are using a variable for first name. Okay, then he can have last name. Then he can have his identity date of birth. Let us say DOB. Type that. Okay. And he can have a person can have what he can have. He can have a PAN number. Okay. So if you look at the details, so first name and last name is fine in the public section. Okay, but date of birth and PAN seem to be sensitive details. Okay, these should not be easily revealed outside the class or outside that particular person. So what we'll do is we'll declare the PAN number and date of birth in the private section of the class. Okay, let us say DOB type that. Okay, and let us say PAN number type let's say string. So what we have declared here is we have declared the attributes of the class. Okay. So the name first and name last, date of birth, PAN number, these are called as attributes. These are called as attributes. So if the attribute is declared in the public section, it is called a public attribute. If it is declared in the protected section, it is called as a protected attribute. If it is declared in the private section, it is called as a private attribute. So whatever is declared with the data statement inside the class will comprise of the class's attribute. Okay, there are two types of attributes in the class. Okay, there are two types of attributes in the class. Uh, the first one is called instance attribute. Second one is called static attribute. So what I have declared, these are called as instance attributes. Okay. These are called as instance attributes. इसको बोलते हैं instance attributes. These are called as instance attributes simply because these cannot exist unless and until you create an instance of the class. जब तक आप ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट नहीं करते हो क्लास का तब तक इनके लिए मेमोरी एलोकेट नहीं होगी रन टाइम. दैट इज व्हाई दीज आर कॉल्ड एज इंस्टेंस एट्रीब्यूट्स. ओके, तो इंस्टेंस एट्रीब्यूट्स डिक्लेयर करने के लिए सिंटैक्स होता है यूज द डेटा स्टेटमेंट आइदर इन द पब्लिक, private or protected section, and the normal ABAP syntax to declare a variable. Okay, so this way you can declare a instance attribute of the class. Okay. We have static attribute as well. To declare the static attribute, the syntax is class hyphen data. Okay, so let us maintain a variable called count of type integer. Okay, so if you declare a variable using this particular syntax inside the class, what we are declaring is a static attribute. What we are declaring is a static attribute. So static attribute is different than instance attribute in the sense that it does not require the object of the class to be created. Okay, uh, it is not bound to any of the object of the class. It is global to all the objects of the class. Okay. So what we have defined here is the data that is to be manipulated inside the class. Okay. We have not defined the methods by which we are going to manipulate this data. अभी के लिए we have just defined the data that is belonging to the class. Okay. We are trying to understand encapsulation and abstraction. Uh, so the definition of encapsulation was somewhat like this. Objects and operations on the objects are coupled together in a single entity called class. So far we have created the class, we have created the data objects that are need to be manipulated, but we have not defined the operations. The data objects are these. Whatever instance attributes and static attributes you have created, these are your data that needs to be manipulated. But how it is to be manipulated, yet we have not defined it. Okay, so to define these, what we need to do is we need to declare methods. Okay, methods are declared using the syntax methods. Okay. Set details. Let us define a method called set details. Okay, let us define it having importing parameters. Okay, a method can be treated as a function module only. If you are aware about function modules, a method will act in a similar manner. It will have importing, exporting, changing, okay, exception parameters. Okay, tables parameters is not supported in object oriented ABAP. Okay, it's obsolete. So nowadays, if you create an FM, you are not supposed to give tables parameter to an FM. Okay, if it's a legacy FM or created by SAP, it's fine. But if you are creating a new function module, it's not recommended to use the tables parameter. So coming back to methods, we will give it importing parameters. What all data we need to set is the first name, the last name, okay, date of birth we need to set, PAN number we need to set. So I will just use the naming convention, IV underscore name underscore first of type string. Okay. So similarly, I will use name underscore last of type string. Then what we are going to use is date of birth. Yeah, we need to set date of birth type that's okay. And then we are going to use PAN number, which is also a string for okay. So what I have defined is a method. Okay. Particularly if I need to highlight, it's an instance method again. It's an instance method. It has importing parameters, first name, last name, date of birth, and PAN number. So this particular method I am going to use to set the data into the class object, okay, or variables of a class object. So if there is a method, there needs to, this particular method, we have just defined it. Okay, we have not implemented it. So once we have defined it, what we'll do is we'll go in the implementation section and we'll start defining it, implementing it. Just method details and method. So what is the purpose of this particular method is to set the values of the variables of the class, okay, or attributes of the class. So we have the importing parameter name first. I'm going to set the name first variable using this iv underscore name first. Name last. I'm going to just set it using name last. Then we have the DOB, date of birth, that also can be set. IV underscore DOB. Okay, just I change the name of this particular underscore DOB type. Similarly, I need to change this IV underscore DOB. And one more attribute is remaining. It's PAN number. I'm going to simply set it using IV underscore. I have to change this as well. Underscore. Okay. So what we have done is we have declared some data. We have declared a method which is going to set the data. Okay. Now we can begin our execution. In the event start of selection. The first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to create a reference variable for this class. Okay, using the data set. Reference variable is hello demo type reference2. This is the syntax we use for declaring a reference variable. So type reference2. What is the name of the class? Is LCL demo. Okay. So next thing that I need to do is create an object of the class. So there are nowadays multiple ways to create an object of the class, but today we are going to simply use the basic syntax create object. Okay, and simply say hello underscore demo in front of it. So this is going to create a object of the class. Now, what happens after this? Okay, let's use the normal breakpoint. Okay, what happens after this? If you try to execute this, do a syntax check. The last statement is not complete. Period is missing. Looks good. Just activate. We'll place a breakpoint on the create object statement and we'll execute this. You need to understand this these basics. So hello demo currently it is initial. Okay, no memory allocation is there. As soon as I do F6 on this create object statement, it's no longer initial. Memory gets allocated. Okay. So what has happened is, as you can see, if you open up this reference variable, uh, you can see the type is LCL demo. Okay, so these are the attributes: DOB, PAN number, name first, name last, and count. Okay, these are shown using a green status symbol, meaning these are public, and the red ones are private. Okay, you can see that these have initial values. Okay, no values has been set. So we have already defined a method to set these values for us. Okay, so far so good. We are able to create an object of the custom class that we have defined so far. So we'll proceed further. Next part that we are going to do is we are going to set the data into the class. Now either you can create a selection screen and pass data from that, or you can what you can do is directly hard code in some values. So I'm going to simply hard code some values. When you are doing your exercise, you can create a selection screen and make the program more dynamic. That also is possible. Okay. So uh, I'm going to call the method of the class hello demo hyphen arrow control space. Okay. So what all is visible you can see. Count is a public static attribute. It is visible. Name first, name last is visible. What is not visible outside the class is the date of birth and what you can say PAN number. Okay. Easily the system is not giving me the pop-up so that I can use that. Okay. So currently I don't want to use any of the attributes. What I want is the method set details. I will use this method set details. To come out of this insert mode somehow. Does anybody know how to come out of an insert mode? Yeah, thank you. So, कहाँ पे थे हम लोग? Yes, set
Hello,
details.
paste function and insert button.
Yeah, I got that. Thank you. Set details. Yes, we are going to call this set details method to set the attributes of the object. Okay. Just look at the what you can say interface. It has importing parameters. So what we are going to do is right here exporting. Okay. Whatever the method is importing in its interface, while calling that method, we write that as exporting. It's a normal practice. This we do with function modules as well. Okay. You just type in the variable what you need to send in. Uh, I want to send in the name first. I'll just type my name here. Last. This exercise might seem very trivial, but it has many basic concepts that you will be requiring during WebDyn Pro. When you get dumps, you need to understand why the dump is coming, uh, this sort of thing. Okay. So date of birth, I will pass the current date. Since it's a date, I can pass any of it. I'm passing current date. PAN number. Can pass any XYZ value. Pass any XYZ value. Since it's a string, it can accept any value. So I can pass it. Okay. So again, we'll set a breakpoint here. So to activate the code first. Set a session breakpoint. Just execute. Let's see what is happening. Okay. So again, the object is created. We have blank attribute values. Now we are calling a method to set the attribute values for this particular object. So let's take the control inside the set details. So now we are inside set details method. So, so now one by one, I'm going to execute this statement. What is the result is the values start populating. As you can see, first name, first last name has been populated in the object itself. Okay. So all of the values have been populated. Okay. Now, now if what if I want to print out the values? Okay. What if I want to print out the values? I can simply use the write statement. Okay. I can simply use the write statement. Hello demo. I can print out the first name, I can print out the last name, but I cannot print out the date of birth or PAN number since it is not readily available outside the class. Okay, this is how abstraction is achieved. Okay, selective details have been exposed from the class. Okay, the selective details are the static attribute count, the first name, the last name. The PAN number and date of birth are not at all accessible from outside the class. That is the exact reason why we had to pass the date of birth and PAN number to a method to get them set in the object. You can create multiple objects for this particular class as well. Okay, the instance attribute, the instance attributes will be different for different objects. Okay, but the static attribute will remain the same. For example, I will simply create one more reference of the class. Type reference to LCL. So just copy the same statement as it is. Change the reference variable. The same method I'm going to call with some different values this time around. Okay. Let's just say XYZ person is there. Okay. His first name is XYZ, some random values. Again, the data I'll keep the same. I'll simply change the PAN number. Let it be this. Okay, now what we are doing is we are creating two objects of the same class. Okay, which are pointed to by two different reference variables. Now let's execute this and try to understand. I've just come to the create object statement for the second object. Okay. Come to desktop 3. So Hello demo has been instantiated. Okay, these values have been set. See, the count value is initial. We have not done anything with the count value. Okay. Now let's instantiate the second object. Do F5 on this. Okay. See, you can see that the instance variable values are blank. Okay, so a completely new set of values have been new set of memory locations have been allocated to the second object. The first object is as it is. Okay, this is what the meaning of instance attribute is. For each object, a complete different set of instance attributes will exist. So same similar thing. Just I will do F6 on this. Uh, the second object is now having these values, new values that I have passed. Okay, the count value is still 0. Okay, remember this count is a static attribute. Okay, it belongs to the class, not to the object. Okay, we'll see how it is. Just bear with me for a second. I hope this point is clear that how a local class is to be created, how the data is to be created, what is an instance attribute, what is a static attribute. We have yet to explore what is a static attribute and how to use it, but the syntax to define a static attribute is given here. Okay, so count of type integer is the static attribute. Now we need to explore how the static attribute is to be manipulated. Okay, we saw how the instance method is to be called. It is to be called using the reference variable of the class, the arrow operator, and then the whichever method you want to call. Okay, so this particular arrow operator is used to call instance methods only. Okay, likewise, see what we have is two types of methods. We have two types of attributes. There are two types of methods: instance method as well as static method. Okay, so first we will explore the static attribute of the class. As you can see, the static attribute of the class is in the public section, so it is readily available outside the class as well. So I need not call any method to manipulate that static attribute. Okay, so what I can do is I simply will use the class name LCL underscore demo. How to manipulate the static attribute, that is what we are discussing right now. Equal to and greater than. See, using that operator, only one pop-up is coming and one suggestion is there, which is count. Okay, just increment the count. Right. So what I will do is add 1, 2. So simply what I am doing is I have created one object of the class. I have set some attributes of the class. I am increment the counter by 1. Okay. Similar statement I will be using. Okay. Second object has been created. Attributes for the second object I have set. I have simply incremented the counter. Okay. Let's check the syntax first. Seems to be fine. Just activate it. Okay, the breakpoint is appropriately set here. So we'll see what happens to the count after this statement. Remember, the count is accessible outside the class simply because it is declared in the public section, nothing else. Just execute. So just open up this first object that you have created. The count value is 0 till now. Simply press F5. The count value has incremented to 1. Okay. Although it is showing inside this particular object for this reference variable, the count belongs to the class. It doesn't belong to the object. It's a class variable. Okay. So we are going to create the second object now. It's initial. Second object is initial. Simply press F5. Memory has been allocated. Okay, the count value is 1. Okay. The count value for the second object that we have created is 1. It is not 0. Okay. Simply because the rest of the attributes are 0. It is because these are instance attributes. But count is a static attribute. It is maintained for the class. It is not maintained for a particular object of the class. So even if you create n number of objects, let us say 10 objects, the count value, if I will remain like same for all. In this case, I'm going to just simply execute this set details till the count value is 1 only. Okay. Now the count value has incremented to 2. So for each of the variable, the count value is incremented to 2. Now this is the first object of the class. This is the second object of the class. Both have common count value, which is 2. So static attributes are maintained for the class only. Okay. In this case, we have maintained this static attribute to uh, keep a count of how many objects of the class have been created so far. Okay. And it is easily accessible outside the class. Hence, I am able to write this statement. Okay. If it is not available outside the class, this count attribute is not in the public section. I have to write a separate method to increment this count. Okay. So to conclude our report program, using a write statement, we are going to get the output. Okay. Number of objects created, and simply use this directly. Okay. So if you want to write the name of the write out the name, first name and last name of the persons that you have created using this particular example, you can simply first name of person 1. What you can do is use the first reference variable hello demo. Use the look at the operator that I am using. Both these are called as member selection operators. Okay, the equal to greater than and hyphen greater than are member selection operators. Okay, the equal to greater than operator is used in the case of static attributes and methods, and hyphen greater than is used in the case of instance attributes and methods. Okay, first name of person 1 that we are trying to print out, name first. Okay. Uh, First name of person 2. one. Just pretty print it. Save it. Activate it. Yeah, there are some errors. Try to breakpoint is unknown. Okay, because yeah, no need for a breakpoint now since we are showing the output. Just execute this. Okay, yeah, that's what the output is. What we are trying to achieve here is we are trying to achieve an understanding of uh, what are classes, how encapsulation is maintained. So hope now encapsulation and abstraction is clear. So object and operations on the object are coupled together in a single entity called class. So that we have discussed. Abstraction is revealing only certain attributes of an object via specific interface methods. So via specific interface methods, in the sense date of birth and PAN number, it's not easily accessible outside the class. So if I want to access these and set the values into these attributes of an object, I have to call a method called set details. Okay. Similarly, if I want to print out the PAN number and date of birth of a particular person, then I have to have a separate method called get details so that I will be able to get these as what you can say exporting parameters from the method. Okay. So currently I can directly print out name first, name last, and count because these are in the public section. Okay. Any doubts in this so far? Anyone? Yeah, you can ask the doubts if you have. So what we are trying to we have covered today is encapsulation and abstraction. Okay, abstraction is achieved using what you can say public, private, and protected section. Okay, encapsulation is achieved using class methods. Okay, yeah. So any doubts? Okay, that's it. That's it for today.